Edwards Air Force Base, California, 1949. A rocket sled sits on nearly 2 miles of track in the desert. Strapped inside is a test subject, sometimes a dummy, sometimes a chimpanzee, sometimes a volunteer with nerves of steel. Today's mission: measure the G-forces on the human body in rapid deceleration. Important data for fighter pilot safety. Captain Edward Murphy, an aerospace engineer from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, has designed special sensors for this exact purpose. 16 strain gauges carefully designed to measure forces at different points on the body. The team fires the rockets. The sled screams down the track, hits the brakes, massive deceleration. They check the readings. 0. Every single sensor reads 0. Not low readings, not inconsistent data. 0. Upon inspection, they discover something that seems almost statistically impossible. All 16 sensors had been wired backward. The odds were astronomically low. If each sensor had a 50-50 chance of being wired correctly or incorrectly, the chance of making the same mistake 16 times in a row would be 1 in 65,536. In the world of test failures, this wasn't just bad luck. It was a glaring illustration of how an overlooked design detail could dramatically amplify the consequences of human error. Murphy, frustrated beyond belief, mutters, "If there's any way to do it wrong, they will." He had no idea he'd just articulated one of the most famous principles in human history. That frustrated comment became Murphy's Law. You know it in its popular form. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. The phrase was actually refined and popularized by Lieutenant Colonel John Paul Stapp, the rocket sled project commander who would later strap himself into that sled and endure 46.2 Gs of force to advance aerospace medicine. During a press conference shortly after the sensor incident, Stapp mentioned Murphy's Law as the team's guiding principle for safety. Assume the worst-case scenario and design accordingly. The phrase caught fire. By the 1970s, after Arthur Bloch published Murphy's Law and Other Reasons Why Things Go Wrong, it had become a cultural sensation. Once you know about Murphy's Law, you see it everywhere. You're making toast before a job interview. You've made toast 1,000 times without incident. Today, of all days, the bread jams. The smoke alarm goes off. Butter side down on your white shirt. It's moments like these, the ones that seem perfectly timed to unravel your plans, that make Murphy's Law feel so personal. And it's not just small inconveniences. Think about the last time you ran late for something important. Every traffic light turned red. Every slow driver appeared in your lane. The parking spot you needed? Taken. Now flip it. Can you remember a commute where every light was green, the roads were clear, and parking was easy? Chances are it's harder to recall. Try it for a second. Our brains are wired to remember the frustrations but quickly forget when things go unexpectedly right. This simple mental exercise shows how confirmation bias colors our memories of what always seems to go wrong. Now here's the thing that makes Murphy's Law feel so personal. It doesn't feel random. It feels targeted. It feels like the universe knows you're in a hurry. It's waiting for the most unfortunate moment to strike. That's the genius of Murphy's Law. It captures something we all feel but can't quite explain. So what's actually happening? Is the universe genuinely conspiring against you? Not quite. But there are psychological and probabilistic forces in action. First, confirmation bias. You remember the times things went wrong at bad moments because those moments are memorable. They're emotionally charged. Your toast landing butter side up on a random Tuesday? You forget it instantly. Your toast landing butter side down right before your wedding? You'll remember it forever. Second, the law of large numbers. You make hundreds of small decisions and take hundreds of actions every day. Statistically, some will go wrong, and the ones that matter most, those are the ones where you're paying attention, where the stakes are high, where you're already stressed. So it's not that things go wrong more often during important moments. It's what you notice and remember when they do. Third, stress amplifies perception. When you're calm and have time, a minor problem is just that minor. When you're already late and stressed, that same problem feels catastrophic. But there's also a more profound truth Murphy understood from his engineering background. Complex systems have more failure points. The more steps in a process, the more components in a system, the more opportunities for something to go wrong. And in high-pressure situations, we often add complexity, extra checks, backup plans, redundant systems, which paradoxically create more potential points of failure. Murphy's original insight was engineering gold. If a component can be installed wrong, someone eventually will install it wrong. But here's where Murphy's Law reveals something fascinating about itself. It doesn't actually predict that everything will go wrong. It predicts that what can go wrong will go wrong, given enough opportunities. Everything won't fail, something might. This is a crucial distinction. By repeating it, the point sticks. Not everything collapses at once, but something is always at risk. Which means the real question isn't, why does everything go wrong? The real question is, what am I allowing to go wrong? If this changed how you think about things going wrong, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find these ideas. And if you want to understand another law that's been quietly controlling your life, we just covered Parkinson's Law, Why Work Expands, to fill the time you give it.